Okay, welcome back. Solo roll Mangging. Tales of Argosa in the shadow of Tower Silveraxe. We are no longer in the well, technically, I guess we're directly in the shadow of the Tower Silveraxe right now. We are about to go into the Tower of the Builders, the final location. I mean, the campaign is the mini campaign. It's just kind of a region, you know, like you could just plop this into your wider world, this region, and maybe the players would get to it. Maybe they'd mill about a little bit, take a plot hook or something, and then get distracted and go elsewhere. Yeah, who knows what. But if there is obviously a central conflict here, it's Duard Silveraxe and his horde, his legion of undead. And the undead last time actually launched a pretty big assault on the settlement of Karn Buldar. Very successfully, I might add. I mean, not completely successfully. They didn't take over the settlement, but they definitely would have if we had not been there. Like, we stepped in after the slaughter and sort of picked up the pieces and finished off all the undead, but man, damage is done. It's going to be quite a while before Karn Buldar recovers, and it might never really... I mean, I guess it could. If we deal with this problem now, wipe out the undead, there is maybe some hope. So, we're going to head in. It says the area may have undead patrolling. That's true. I think Duard Silveraxe is actually in control of the undead. He has given them commands. So I think we're going to go ahead and roll a d6 here for a wandering monster check. So a 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so right now it's empty. Maybe they're off patrolling elsewhere. Who knows what. But it looks open. Up the short steps, the door appears as an ornate dark metal slab. When approached, the door opens automatically, rearranging pieces of itself away from its center to reveal room 2. It closes itself again. Okay, so we cautiously approach. Eyes open, ears open, all that good stuff. And as we approach these big, dark metal doors, they just start shifting and moving in little pieces, and it's like nanotechnology. It's beyond anything we've ever seen. It looks magical, but it also looks mechanical, so it's quite confusing. But the doors do open, in a sense, revealing the interior. Now it says that 3 ghouls roam the halls of this first floor. In the central part of this room, there are 2 stairways that go up to the second floor. 4 doors lead to other rooms. Through the hall to the south, around a few turns, another stairway down leads to door 21. There are marble pillars with unlit torch sconces. So we open up into this kind of big hall. It's a very odd kind of layout, I suppose. But we do see a set of stairs ahead of us. I don't think there's any, whenever we're traveling as a group, there's really no stealth. And we are going to have light. We didn't get a torchbearer because there was nobody left to carry torches. So Rethiether has to give up her shield. Or we have to give up one of my divine spellcasting for illumination. Now, the only other uses for that thing specifically is Bane Rune, which is pretty good. Would be pretty kind of handy to throw out there right now. Or Destroy Dead, which I feel like is also really good, but it's only specifically against skeletons or zombies. So unless we run into some kind of super zombie, which we might, seems unlikely. So I think we're probably going to go for Illumination. Alright, normal success. So that's going to be 10 turns on the clock. I think he's also going to cast Holy Blessing while we're at it. Because that's going to give us all +1 to attack, bonus, AC, morale, and luck versus fear. Alright, also a success. So we're going to go ahead and just do that for now. So an extra AC, an extra attack, and then luck versus fear effects, we'll see. But I just want to, yeah, just note this for right now. Which is pretty significant, I would say. So we've got an hour and 40 minutes of light. We're blessed by Graxus to succeed in our quest. I don't know how we can possibly go wrong. Alright, so we enter into the hall. Like I said, we can't really stealth. We're lit up like a fucking beacon in this place, in this unholy place. So it's more a matter of, do we spot the ghouls? I don't know if ghouls specifically get like a massive stealth bonus, but you know, we only have light out to 30 feet. No, I don't think they're not noted as being particularly stealthy. We can check Tails just to see what their dex is. 13, that's fair. So they're going to roll once, and we'll roll a group perception check against it. Okay, they succeeded on the dot. So as long as we get any successes, we will spot them sort of moving on the perimeter of our light and stuff. Sort of shifting around walls. Wow, she actually failed. Oh man, we failed. Damn. Nefira could use a reroll, but that seems hasty, but also it's almost guaranteed to like benefit us quite a bit. Alright, I will spend it. Jeez. Very surprising for her to fail. She failed twice! Rolled an 18 and a 19. Oh, man. Well, then it's just meant to be. Which is bad, because they're ghouls. They have paralysis. Yeah, it's just crazy to me. I mean, I really like Tales of Argosa. Like I said, it's probably my favorite system when combined with Axe. And I like so many of the mechanics, and I do like the idea of luck and stuff like that as a replacement for saving throws, and it kind of dwindles down. But the idea that you fight a pack of ghouls, and your luck, assuming you roll successfully and don't fucking die from, you know, getting paralyzed and your throat ripped out. So if you succeed, your luck could easily go down like 6-7 points in one fight. It just seems nuts to me. Like I said, I do think certain things should decrease your luck, but enemy attacks, I think that should be really rare. Unless it's like a powerful spellcaster casting a spell. Then maybe, because that's like a pretty limited thing. But yeah, like just like poison rolls and paralysis rolls, like seems crazy. I don't know how people are really playing like that. You're like guaranteed. Not very long. You're almost guaranteed to get paralyzed or death poisoned or something like that. Which is not how it works with actual, like, old school saving throws. I mean, you always have the same exact chance for the most part. Sometimes they'll do, like, a +2 or -2 maybe, but... yeah, it seems kind of nuts. And I feel like... I don't know. Unless, yeah, I don't know. I just don't see playing like that or DMing like that, so. Alright, anyways. These ghouls are going to be ambushing us then, almost certainly. We could roll a reaction roll, but I think we're just going to be pretty certain that everything in here has been given the direct command by Duard to defend this place from any intruders, right? I mean, that's pretty basic. So they're going to go about that the best way they can, which is going to be an ambush. And there's 3 of them, there's 3 of us, so they're going to sort of pounce out of the darkness when we're not looking. Which is not great, because they each get 2 attacks with advantage. I mean, they only have +2 on the rolls, and we all have very good ACs, but a lot of attacks. Alright, yeah, so +2 with advantage against Dalnir. Miss. Against Nefira. Hit. Against Rethi. Miss. Okay, so 1 shot landed on Nefira. It's a D... I don't know, I like using axe rules. Oh, axe actually gives them 3 attacks, just for funsies. And axe ghouls are pretty nasty. If you fail to save, you are paralyzed for 2d4 turns. Unless cured with Cure Light Injury or Cure Disease. The creature remains infected and doomed to become a ghoul if not cured. Also, if you lose 50% more of your total HP fighting grave ghouls, you're automatically infected. You will become a grave ghoul in 2d6 days, and the only way to prevent it is with the divine spell Cure Disease. Now, that's a little fudgy for our purposes, because in Axe, if we go to the spell list, well, not Blade Dancer. No. Delay Disease. 3rd level. Divine Cure Disease. Okay. And Shaman. So every priestess and every shaman gets access to Cure Disease. Although, really, you wouldn't necessarily depend on someone in your own party being able to cast it. You would likely go and go to a temple or something. Remember, I believe Karn Buldar had a 5th level cleric. Right? Pretty certain it did, that's right. So if we look at, say, a 5th level priestess, they're going to have 2 3rd level spells per day. So if you pay enough money, they will cast Cure Disease for you. I think probably Axe has maybe a guideline for how much they charge for casting it. Maybe. I don't know where that information would be in. It says here a 5th level henchman earns 400 gold per month. But that's not necessarily the easiest way to... There is 100% info somewhere online. Let's see, OR costs to have Cure Disease or something. I don't know. That's a terrible Google search. Here you go, but this is what I was searching. How much would a priest charge for healing services? Firstly, if the party is suffering mortal wounds or complications, the priest might offer his services for free if they are in okay standing with his faith. That seems common decency. If they're adherent to the faith themselves, and even say it would help them free when not in mortal danger. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they're priests. They should be kind of nice. It says here, an axe, the cost of the spellcasting service is based on the level of the spell. Priests charge double if not of the same faith, and if you're opposite alignment, they won't cast. Price ranges from 10 gold pieces for a level 1 divine spell to 500 gold pieces for a level 5 divine spell. Yeah, see, that's exactly the sort of thing that I'd like to hear. And I'm, like I said, I'm sure that's somewhere in this... I'm sure it's somewhere in this book, or somewhere in the rule book. But that's always the tricky thing with these axe books, is like finding a specific ruling for something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, somewhere. Here's a index of all the tables in the entire game. I don't know if it really would warrant a table, though. It might just be text. Spell availability by market? That could be something. Yeah, here it is. It's in the equipment section. Huh. This is under specialists. Arcane and divine casters are sometimes hired to cast a spell for an adventuring party. Most often these are divine casters asked to cure disease, remove curse, restore life and limb, and so on. The spell availability by market table shows how many divine and arcane spellcasters capable of casting at a given spell level can be found in any given market. Each spellcaster will be able to cast a spell of the given level once per day. Divine casters will never cast spells for adventurers of opposite alignment and may charge double if the adventurers do not belong to the faith. Okay, so we'd want... So Cure Disease is a 3rd level spell. So you're talking about 45 gold. They might charge 90 gold if you don't belong to their faith. In a Class 6 settlement, normally there would be none. There would be no one capable of casting that. So Karn Boldar is a slight bit of an exception there. It does have a 5th level cleric, so you could cast it twice per day. So in that case, you could just put a 1 there. Yeah, otherwise Class 5 will have 1d6. Which is a pretty good amount. You can also, as a player, sell your spellcasting services to others. You can also, there's perpetual spells, like Perpetual Illumination. A decadent noble wishes to illuminate his villa with 10 perpetual illuminations. This costs him 1,600 gold plus 50 gold per month. Yeah, interesting. That is quite decadent, isn't it? Alright, I know that was a tangent. But it was just because we were looking at Axe. As that's why it's like, okay, at a certain point, it's not really that bad. Paying 45 gold back in town to not become a ghoul is a pretty minor thing, but it does necessitate probably a trip back to town, because it's 2d6 days. That could be 2 days. That would be pretty shitty. But it's possible for you to be more than a week away if you're in some really remote dungeon filled with grave ghouls. You know. So generally, I would say that if you are going to a location that might have grave ghouls milling about and it's remote, you might want to hire one of these divine spellcasters to go with you and just sit by the wagon just in case. Things like that. And that's why it's kind of fun. Okay. So, we are going to have to roll, for this. So I guess I like axe stat blocks. So we're going to roll the third attack for everybody. Again, this is +2. Dalnir, miss. Nefira, miss. Rethi, miss. So it's just one attack on Nefira that succeeded. One claw attack for 1d3. 3 damage, of course. And I believe... yeah, all of these things can do paralysis. I know it sort of seems like only the bite does it, but no, all of them do paralysis. Even the tiniest bite or scratch from a grave ghoul is dangerous. So she needs to roll a luck con check. And we are not going to we're not going to lower her luck. Yep. Great success. She fends it off. So these ghouls come in and the claws are flying. They're trying to bite us. It's horrific. We're mostly fending them off, but one does scratch Nefira pretty good across the neck. Worrisome. Now, however, we are going to counterattack with our initiative. Failure. God damn it, Nefira. Well, you're spending your goddamn trick and technique. For damn sure. What the fuck? I don't think I can use it again. Which is pretty bad. I can't believe you failed twice. What is going on with her? Well, it doesn't say that you can't use it more than once. So I guess it's just kind of up to you if you want to expend tricks and techniques on more than one. I do. I really don't want these ghouls to go again with 9 more attacks. There we go. All right, Rethi. Swing, baby, swing. That is a 16, which is a hit. They have 13 AC, but they have 9 hit points, so it's not a kill. Dalnir is going to try to cleave through his. That is very much a miss. Great. Nefira is going to... She's in melee. This is not a good spot for her. Flash powder. Well, she does have Skirmisher. So it would have disadvantage on all 3 attacks. Okay. She's going to move out of the way. So it gets to attack 3 times, +2 with disadvantage. First roll, fail. Second roll, fumble. Okay, I'll take an op on that. And third roll, fail. Okay, so she has her bow out as usual, so I guess I don't have an op. It's fine. She's gonna shoot the one that Rethi injured. And she's going to kill it. Good. Okay, now they get to go. So the ghoul that was on Nefira is gonna keep going on Nefira. And the other one's still on Dalnir. The one on Dalnir, 3 attacks at +2. Miss. Crit. Miss. So that's 3 damage, and he has to make a luck con check. No problem. One on Nefira. Miss. Miss. Crits. Jesus. Okay, she's got to make a luck con check. Failure. Alright. Dalnir is going to attempt to rescue her. Technically, she wouldn't die from this, but we really want to not have her be infected. It might be a little late. I don't know if you're technically allowed to do this after the the luck con check. But a rescue is a rescue. A rescue is always kind of a little bit of a rewind of time, right? You do it after the roll. I'm never quite sure where the rescue rule is. Maybe only used to protect another person or thing. Rescue is available when it's not the player's turn in response to something happening within close range. Allows you to negate or reverse an adverse event for another player or NPC. Yeah. Alright, so he's just going to try to rush in and push Nefira out of the way. So he's going to roll initiative first. Great success. And now this is going to be a luck strength check. Yeah. Success. So he lost a point of luck, but she's going to recover that 3 hit points and be safe. We have new initiative. Failure. Nothing I can do about it. Dalnir is now going to have both ghouls on him. So this is 6 rolls, all with +2. Hit. Miss. 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 Hit. Miss. That's 2 hits. His luck just went down by 1, by the way, so that's great. And one of them rolled a natural 19. So we could do some blade trauma, I suppose, but let's go ahead and look at what they got. Frenzy, an extra claw attack. Alright. Miss. So he's gonna roll, he takes only 2 damage. Fine, but he has to roll a luck con twice. He has no rerolls. There's no rescues left. I guess Nefira could return the favor and try to rescue him. Okay. She also has a rescue available. She's gonna try to trip the ghoul that was biting him. To throw it off balance. So, her initiative check, success. And now luck dexterity. Damn. No rerolls. No option. He's infected. Nothing we can do about it. So he's gonna start spasming. And he's paralyzed now on the ground. And he's the only one that can cast Cure Light Injury, so he's kind of the worst person to be paralyzed. But you really shouldn't have, well, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, had we not failed initiative. But we did. Fuck. Well, Rethi goes in with her longsword. She kills one, yeah, 12 AC. No, they have 13 AC. Yeah. She missed by 1. Fuck. Nefira's gonna shoot her bow. 6 damage to one of them. We get new initiative. Great success. She shoots her bow again. Kills. And Rethi swings her sword at the other one. Miss again. I guess the ghoul could just focus on consuming Dalnir and eating him. I've never really done anything like that, because usually it's kind of mean. I mean, it could try to drag Dalnir off, but that seems quite difficult. He's a pretty heavy dwarf, and he's really loaded down with gear. I feel like that would be really dumb for a ghoul. So it would really either just, like, sit there and just, like, keep slashing at his body while he's paralyzed. And he's helpless, right? So I think it would just be like an instant kill. But that's usually why you don't do that as a DM. It's pretty mean. So he's gonna just jump on Nefira instead. First one miss, second one miss, third one miss. Excellent. New initiative. Back to Rethi. Great success. She swings her sword. Maybe she'll get a hit someday. There it is, a kill. Okay, ghoul's down. Problem is now we're waiting out his shit because we don't have Cure Light Injury. So we're sitting here for 2d4 turns. We could drag him out of the tower, but I'm not sure if it's safer in here or safer out there. It's really a horse apiece. Unless we can find some semblance of safety somewhere. But trying any of these doors could be the death of us. Yeah, because I mean, like, room number 4 contains 10 skeletons sitting in there, and they will be completely silent as they all just stand in that room. Room number 5 is safe. Room number 6 is actually, like, a safe sleeping quarters. And room number 7 is safe. Room number 8, however, contains 2 whites. So it's really a crapshoot of which of these doors we would try. But if we just sit here for 2d4 turns, we're going to be rolling random encounter checks like 5 times or whatever, you know. It's going to be rough. So I guess I mean, none of these rooms are going to have any sound because it's all undead. So it's a crapshoot. I can't really, like, scout ahead because she can't see in the dark. I could take his Ring of Invisibility, because the undead are usually kind of mindless. And if they don't see an opponent, they won't necessarily attack, but it's still pretty risky. Because, like, if I carry her shield with a light, I assume it's just going to be like an ethereal light floating around invisibly, you know, like, I don't know quite how that works exactly. I don't know if that was mentioned when discussing invisibility and lights and stuff. Light never becomes invisible, although a source of light can become so, thus creating the effect of a visible light with no visible source. Interesting. I really have no idea how undead would react to that. That would be one of those situations where if the players did that and I was a DM, I'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't know. They're pretty low intelligence and they're pretty mindless. I don't think they'd really treat it as as an opponent. As an enemy, I don't think they'd just swing at it because it's just because it's the light. But I don't know. Okay, so whites are embalmed. They appear as embalmed corpses. So these are like the more powerful zombies, essentially. They're immune to all mundane damage. They're inherently evil, blah, blah, blah. Seems to maybe be a bit more intelligent. Semi-decayed humanoid undead. Yeah, they have a 15 intelligence, so the whites might actually... It would be like if we walked into a room with humans, but even like... Or so, I mean, these are actually like intelligent sort of humanoids. So they would probably just start swinging at this mysterious light that enters. But skeletons, I don't think would react. I think we'd just see them standing there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have Rethi give up her shield real quick. She's going to take the ring of invisibility. She's going to activate it. And she's going to go check a door. Now, technically, 4 and 5 are through this door. So if she roams around this hall, she finds 1, 2, 3, 4 doors and a staircase leading down. Yeah, down to level 1. Okay. You know, she'll listen at every door, of course, but she doesn't hear anything, so it doesn't matter. So we're gonna roll D4 to see which door she actually tries to enter and hopes for the best. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a pretty good odds then of not walking into the whites. If we roll 3, it's bad. 2. Okay, perfect. So she tries door number to room number 6. And there's a bed in here. There's a rug. And it's all good. So she quickly, you know, encourages Rethi to drag Dalnir's paralyzed body into room number 6. And we're gonna spike the door shut. I know, we haven't done that in a while. And now we're gonna wait out the 2d4 turns. Yes. So that's going to be only 2 turns. We got damn lucky. Alright, so we're down to 8 then. And Dalnir recovers. He is still, as discussed, infected with ghoul fever. So he will become a ghoul in 2d6 days. 9 days he's got. But we should be able to finish up here and get back to Karn Buldar and be healed before he becomes a ghoul. Okay? All good. It's all good. Alright. Well, during that 20 minutes, obviously Nefira thoroughly searched the room. I think we also are going to take a short rest. Does Dalnir get a short rest after he recovers? I suppose so. I don't see why not. The mechanics of the short, or the narrative aspect of the short rest is always a little nebulous. May spend a few minutes to recover and tend to injuries before pressing on. It's like, why wouldn't I be able to do that? You know, 20 minutes later? I don't know, but why can't you do this like 4 hours later? I don't know. I mean, that's a mechanical thing. But I'll give Dalnir a short rest because I'm a nice DM and I do nice DM stuff. He's gonna get back. Ooh. A lot of options there. Yeah, hit points has to be 1. Brings it back to 19. And then I think the reroll would be pretty significant, so we'll give him that. Nefira mostly wants that reroll back. You got it. She could get, like, 1 hit point back. But we'll probably go for a trick and technique. And then Rethi. She got 1 success. We're probably looking at a reroll. Okay. Good. Not great. I mean, our luck's not at a great spot, but we're okay. Alright, let's continue on. So, yeah, we've got staircases all over the place. Two stairways that go up to the 2nd floor. Right, so this is upper level. So one goes up this way, one goes up this way, blah, blah, blah. I would say if we want to bum rush this, chances are he's at the top of the tower. I mean, that's classic, right? That's how it always works. Top of the tower, that's where the big baddie is. So we could just go up the stairs and ignore the other rooms rather than methodically clearing out the whole place. Because I imagine, I don't know for sure, and I don't know if it says anywhere. But usually when you defeat and destroy the sort of necromantic source, like a necromancer, all the undead created by that necromantic source will just dissipate. It does not seem to say that at all. That's up to the DM. It's questionable because if you do that here, like, you kind of just get free reign of pretty much the entire dungeon. There's some things in here, especially underground, and it's like rock pythons and tiger beetles and Ragadessa, whatever that exactly is. I think I've heard of that before. But there's a bunch of rooms that just have undead in it. It wouldn't be that big of a deal if you did it. Do we think to just go to the top of the tower? No. Alright, we're going to be more methodical than that. So we've got 3 other doors that we know about. We're going to roll to see which one we decide to go through. 3. Okay, that's going to be this door here to 7. So, obviously, we listen at it, we check for traps, and we go in. Oh, no, we got to unlock the door. Got a great success. She pops it open very fast. And we head in. Inside, there's a bed, chair, and a trunk, all of elven design. And we'll check the chest thoroughly. And we'll search the room, of course. We always do that. It's all good. So, inside the treasury, we find elven cloak and boots. Is that a thing? Yeah, it is a thing. Elven cloak and boots. Wearer the boots is able to move silently. Wearer the cloak is rendered almost invisible. There's only a 1 in 6 chance of them being spotted. And the cloak's power and invisibility is nullified for 1 turn if the wearer attacks. So it's basically the ring of invisibility, but it's like always on. And allows you to be noiseless. You move silently. I imagine Axe has a version of this, but it's probably called something way more clever than that, right? Cloak of the Elven Ranger. Wearer the cloak blends almost effortlessly into his surroundings, can hide in cover or darkness as a combat action with a hiding proficiency or throw of 12+. He's already proficient in hiding, said gains a +8 bonus to his hiding proficiency throws as the spell Chameleon. That could be what their version of it is. It's not nearly as powerful, but I suppose that's... I suppose that's fair. Well, then probably one of two ways we want to handle this. We do it as OSC and the module intends, where they're able to move silently and they have a 1 in 6 chance of being spotted. We can do it as Axe does it. Which I guess is probably the better way to do it. I mean, I feel like a +8 bonus to your hiding proficiency throws if you're proficient in hiding is pretty obscene. Right, well, yeah, okay. I already pretty much know what I'm gonna do. It seems high, right? I don't know where hiding exactly is, but... Now I'm getting distracted. All right, this is what it's gonna be. It's gonna be quite a bit nerfed. I'll just say that. But basically, it gives you the stealth skill if you don't already have it, and if you do already have it, you get a +2 to stealth. Because the point is, it's really meant as like an enhancer, right? It makes the stealthy people more stealthy. I mean, that's how I read it. People that aren't stealthy aren't gonna suddenly become ninjas, you know, with elven cloak and boots. That seems wrong. Which means it's probably gonna be ending up in the hands of somebody with the stealth skill, but not necessarily, because getting a skill for free with an item that you just have on is not bad. We could give it to Rethi. So she has stealth, Nefira has stealth, Dalnir has the Ring of Invisibility. If we wanted to do some stealth shenanigans, not a bad way to go about it. Likely it goes to Nefira, because then she has, like, she rolls 19 for stealth with advantage. She really almost will never fail. But I think that's a bit overkill. She's already really good. If she was a human rogue, I'd say hell yeah. But the fact that she has advantage on stealth, I'm gonna give it to Rethi. We'll just call this Elven Cloak. Gain stealth skill if already have stealth. Gain +2 stealth. It's so pithy, right? Yeah, this is equipped for 0 slots. Gotten a good amount of magic items throughout this mini campaign. Not very, most of them aren't very interesting or anything, but they're magic items. Okay, well that's a nice find. Going methodically means that we're almost certainly going to end up in this room with the whites. But it is what it is. We're going to roll a D2 now. 1. Okay, well, we're cutting across back. I don't know why we would do it that way, really. No, we wouldn't. I'm not going to roll. We're going to go in room number 8. So we listen, we check for traps, all that stuff. I don't think whites really make noise because they're undead, but some undead might. I don't know. It says that they're just lurking in there. So I think they have far more, like, patience of just sitting in the dark compared to humans. So, yeah, we don't really hear anything. Rethy's gonna open the door, and the light immediately shines onto these whites. It's not that big of a room. And there doesn't seem to be much in here. It does say the room is larger and belonged to a higher ranking elf steward. But there's no mention of there being anything in there, so it's up to the DM to fill it in. Yeah. I don't know, most of the rooms do mention, like, furniture and things like that, so it's just a room, and we see these two whites, and they look like this, sort of zombies, but definitely more quicker movements and actually holding their weapons properly. And does it give them weapons? No, it does not. They have this energy drain, which is worse. So it says, if unarmed, a white attacks with a necrotizing touch that deals 1d6 damage. If armed, it deals extraordinary damage by weapon, +1, causing unholy damage, I guess. In addition to the weapon's normal damage type. Any living creature damaged by a white's attack must make a successful death saving throw, or start rotting. Rotting creatures gradually begin to bruise, bleed from their orifices, or slough off hair and skin. They take 1 damage at dusk each day and cannot benefit from magical healing until the condition ends. Another thing to use Cure Disease on. And yes, they are immune to all enchantment effects. They have 3 hit dice. Okay. 14 AC. What does it say here? 14 AC, 3 hit dice. Energy drain, yeah. Well, obviously, we're not doing an energy drain. It's a rotting effect. Which isn't too bad. I mean, obviously, we'd want to get it healed. But it's not that, it's not ghoul fever. So, alright, initiative. Let's just do it. Actually, let's start with you with initiative. You rolled a 1, excellent. Nefira is going to fire a bow, as she always does. She fumbles. They can't counterattack, so it's fine. Rethy charges in with her longsword. Yeah, I'm going to use adaptable to actually use charger. So they don't get a bonus against her. Yes. Miss. Damn. She rolled a 2. You'd think with +10, and they only have 13 AC or 14 AC, this wouldn't be too tricky, but it was. Dalnir is not going to charge in. He's going to waddle in, and he could use turning. They wouldn't be instantly destroyed. They'd get a luck will save to resist fleeing for 1d6 times 10 minutes. Yeah, that seems like a better bet. Although, it's a thing of like, if we cause them to flee, they're probably going to run out of the room and then they're going to run out of the tower, right? That would be fleeing the situation as much as possible. It's not really like the holy thing to do, is it? Because then they're eventually going to stop fleeing, and then they're still just undead that are roaming the countryside doing all the sorts of stuff. So it's not really right. I think he's not going to do that. Oh yeah, that's right. We need that's right. We need +1. We need magic weapons. Shit. Alright, he's gonna cast Sharpness on his own weapon. Failure. I'd really hate for him to waste his turn and have to cast this again, so yeah, we're gonna use the reroll. There we go. Alright, so he's got his scimitar enchanted. And he's stepped up, in front of Nefira so that she doesn't have to take it. So now they're going to come in, and they are going to use their Necrotizing Touch. They have +3 versus Dalnir. That is a miss. +3 versus Rethi. They have to crit. Yeah, the high AC is pretty wild. I didn't even really do that much for her. It's just the fact that you get Plate Mail +1, Shield +1. You give those out, and it's like, damn. And she has Protector, so she gets +1 AC from her shield for that. And she's got the Holy Blessing now, which is another AC. And it's just, this all seems relatively easy to get, I suppose. She's good now, man. This is where the DM really starts to have to bring in out spellcasters. Right. Yeah, so that's it. That's their turn. Yeah. Nefira's initiative. Success. Rethi swings her longsword. Fumble. It counterattacks. Misses. Dalnir swings his scimitar on the one on him. +21 hit. Good. And 13 damage. They have, what is... This says 13 hit points. Sounds about right to me. That is a kill. He's not going to cleave. I can't really afford to spend the luck. So it is what it is. And Nefira can't actually harm him, so it doesn't matter. I mean, she could go in and do, like, Flash Powder or something. Which wouldn't be terrible. Alright, fuck it. She'll use Flash Powder. They have to roll... This remaining white has to roll Luck, Dex, or be blind until next turn. They're 3 hit dice. They have 6 luck. And Dex, I imagine, is not great. 14. Okay, so they have +1. So that's a 7 or under. Big fail. Alright, it is blind. That is a 66% flat miss chance on his attack this turn against Rethi. He missed, obviously. I mean, I didn't even roll this, but yeah, he double missed. Alright, new initiative. It's over to Rethi. Excellent. She'll swing that longsword. It is down to 5 hit points. Can Dalnir finish it? He sure can. He rolled a 25. That's pretty big. Alright, white's down. Good. Yeah. All right. We'll search the room. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier. I remember saying that while we were in there for 20 minutes, we searched the room, and then I think I must have gotten distracted. So in room number 6, there's a secret trap door that goes to room 20, which is down in level 1 down here. And then that room also has a separate secret trapdoor that goes down to room 25. I'm not quite sure what a Ragodessa is. It's not represented there. Is this like the giant scorpion monster or something I seem to recall and I've never heard of it. Huge, hairy, nocturnal arachnid carnivores with large heads and mandibles and 10 legs. Yellow head and abdomen, dark brown thorax. Dwell in caves, hunt voraciously. 4+2 hit dice, 14 AC. Got a grab attack and a 2d8 bite attack. Yeah, really not talked about much. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty nasty, for sure. Okay, anyways. So we know about that trapdoor. We didn't go down there yet because we wanted to clear out this floor. That's what we're working on. So we spend time to search this room. We're down to 6 now. We find nothing in here. So now we're going to go back. We go to this door, listen, blah, blah, blah. We go through, and now we see this section here that has 2 more doors. More doors. Horse apiece, really. I guess I'll roll a d2. All right, we're going to take this left door first into room number 4. We listen. We hear nothing. Check for traps. Nothing. We go in, and we are face to face with 10 skeletons that all turn in unison towards us with their weapons. Get you some. Yeah, you can roll initiative first. Failure. That's pretty bad. They're all going to be on Rethi. They can't all swing competently. I mean, they can only surround her so much, especially with the door being in the corner. So I'll say 5 attacks, and they all have +3 to the roll because she's outnumbered quite a bit. Doesn't really matter. They still have to roll a crit, but that's the way it is. So 5 attacks. If any of them are 20, it's a hit. Nothing. Okay, so she deflects left and right. I mean, she's an old hat at dealing with frickin' skeletons now. Yeah, Dalnir is going to use turning now. We're gonna put an end to this fight pretty quickly. So he's got to roll Will Divine Lore. Great success. I don't think there's any stipulations for a great success for turning. So, I mean, you could, I guess, if you wanted to house rule it. I guess the easiest way is that you don't have to roll the 1d4. It's automatically a 4. But that's up to you. I don't think... Yeah. There's no... Yeah, there's no special consolation for rolling a great success. So, 1d4 plus 4. We rolled a 4. That's 8 of them. They're dead. They're disintegrating into dust in front of our eyes. Rethi's gonna swing at one more. She misses, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they have 12 AC, so she misses. And Nefira will shoot one. Crits for 10 damage, so blows one skeleton apart. The skull just sort of pinned to the wall with an arrow. That we failed initiative, so new initiative. I'm sure we'll finish this no problem. There you go. Crits, 13 damage, cleaves it in half. Bone dust scattered to the winds. Nice, not a significant combat. Alright, we have staircases leading up. But we're going to go check the one last door. I'm going to tick down the clock again. Also, I haven't been rolling random encounters. Whoops. I have to roll 5 of them, I think. I haven't rolled any. So this is a D6. We're probably going to get one now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, we got one. It's a D8. 8. That's... Oh, no, it's a D... Wait a minute, Mikey. You say it's a D8 and there's 6 options. You lie. It's a 6. We got a 3. 1d4 elves. They may be infiltrating the tower or escaping from it. Alright. There are 4 elves. Interesting. Reaction roll. Pretty middling. They're not sure about what we're doing here, what's happening. So, That's honestly pretty good. They won't shoot on sight or anything, but they're not immediately welcoming. And are they coming or going? I guess we'll just do an oracle roll. Are the elves infiltrating the tower? Yes. Okay, so they're on their way in. So perhaps we sort of see a light coming down this way. They see our light coming down this way. And both groups sort of pause. And this is unusual because, you know, this is a tower filled with undead, so we don't expect to see lights. So we're gonna definitely try and converse. Rethi will try and converse. And I think, yeah, like I said, I don't like to role play out conversations here, but basically we tell them the truth of what we're doing here. We're trying to put an end to this undead undead menace, and they indicate that they are pretty much doing the same. So Rethi, of course, is going to try to convince them to join us so that we work together. This is going to be at a slight penalty of -2 because we don't have an elf with us or anything like that, so it's a little bit of a disadvantage. We got a great success though, so they see the logic in working together. So they will accompany us throughout the remainder of the dungeon. That's pretty handy. Elves. Let's go ahead and look at Axe for an elf. Beautiful demi-humans, an average 5'6" tall, with lithe builds and graceful features. Oh, they're all immune to diseases caused by undead. Well, that's pretty handy, isn't it? So, all the warriors are going to equip with chainmail, short swords, and longbows. Okay. We're going to assume they don't have precise shot, but to keep them out of harm's way, I'm still going to tell them to just stick to the bows, and we'll handle the front line. Just stick near Nefira. And I'm sure they're probably more than happy to do so. It does put us at a little bit of a risk, because they don't have that unique feature. So the enemies they shoot will have +2 AC, and if we miss, yeah, if they miss, there's a 33% chance of rerolling the attack against an ally in the same melee. It shouldn't be too bad though. We have really good AC, so I'm not overly concerned. But yeah, they will have longbows, which is pretty nice for them. Those are D8s. No, those are D6s. I'm sorry. I'm always confusing different games. So yeah, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's good. Okay, so we tell them we've cleared out most of this floor. We got one last door to check, and we're gonna go take a look at it. So we listen at it. We find out that it's locked. She's gonna roll traps and locks. Whoops. Terrible failure. So that's pretty bad. A normal failure, I would say you still get it, and it takes about 10 minutes. And there's a random monster check. It's just like, you know, you're futzing with it and just can't seem to open. Terrible failure, though, we actually jam the lock. So we don't get it, and it's not happening. You could also break the thieves' tools if you really want to be that way, but I don't. Also, another thing I just realized right at this moment is I didn't really discuss or account at all for having to bring the mule and the cart through the labyrinth of shadows. That should have actually slowed us down quite significantly. I assume that's probably mentioned somewhere. Cars can only move through deserts, mountains, forests, or swamps if a road is available. Okay, maybe we left a cart behind then. Maybe we just left it back at Karn Buldar, but we ate rations off of it, so I don't know. Maybe we left it at the entrance to the forest, but then it's almost certainly dead. We may have taken the mule with us just so she didn't die, and the mule itself can load some stuff, so we probably took a few of these things. Mule can hold 50 stones itself. No, 25 is a normal load. So, I think probably this adds up to like 25 stone or something. So we probably just shifted everything onto the mule and took the mule with us. Let's say that that's what we did, but I should have thought of that. All right. So now it's like, well, if we want to get in there, we're going to have to bash the door down, which is quick, but it's going to prompt a wandering monster roll. Probably with a slightly higher chance of like 2 and 6. So we pay the price for failure if we want to get in. Do we bash the door in? Yep. All right. Dalnir does it. We're going to roll a d6. All right. Nobody heard it. So we burst in. And inside there's a bed, chair, and a trunk, all of elven design. Now we're with elves, and the elves are the stewards of the tower, which probably makes me rethink this whole thing, because as soon as we approach the door, they're like, yeah, you know, that's Carl's room. We don't need to go in there. So they're... No, okay, let's skip all this. So they're probably much more direct, and they're like, look, you know, this guy's going to be on the top of the tower. We're going to the top of the tower. Which begs the question of why they were going this way, but perhaps they saw our light when we went in here. And so... Alright, let's skip all that. We're not... So, yeah, they're not going to be happy if we take their shit. It does have a fucking sword +2 with charm person on it. I don't know what exactly that means, if that's a once per day thing, probably. But yeah. So fine. We go back out and we're gonna go up these stairs right away. I'm gonna tick down the torch once. We're gonna climb up the steps cautiously. And we go to the second floor. Yeah, it's all on this page. Okay. And so we come to this sort of intersection. There's a hallway leading south, hallway leading east. We can see a door there. I think we're going to check this door to the south. I imagine they know the whole layout, though. Like, we don't have to wander around now. We know... We don't know what's in each room necessarily. I mean, they could tell us that, hey, this is the library. You don't need to go in there. And they could say that this room, hey, this is the dining hall. We don't need to go in there. We need to go to the top level. I guess we're beelining it now with the elves' aid. I from what I can tell, they are the stewards of the tower, right? And they were just driven out. They've taken control of the ancient ruined tower of the builders from its elven stewards. Yeah, so the elves... Well, I guess not necessarily... I guess not all the elves are actually, like, stewards of the tower, because they do have their own village. And most of the population of local elves live to the south of the tower in the village. Yeah, okay. So I guess probably most of them don't know the intricacies of the tower. But they did convince us, like, hey, we got to get to the top. So let's start going up some stairs. Do elves have better vision? No. No, not really at all, no. Okay. So they see as much as we see. So we see a door, the door, and the hallway. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and try this door because maybe there's a staircase behind it. You don't know. I don't know. No one knows. We'll roll perception, but there's nothing in there, so it's fine. We check for traps. It's all good. So we go in and we see books. We see a library. We see another door to the east. There is 3 spell scrolls hidden amongst this room somewhere, or maybe they're not hidden. I don't know, but again, we're really not allowed to take anything, which is fine. I don't really need anything. I think many players might send up some arguments if it was part of an ongoing campaign, or even not. But I recognize that we're nearing the end here. And I don't want to start a fuss with these elves, because I think they'll be kind of handy. We'll go try this other door. Perception, traps, all that. And we go out. I'm going to tick down the clock again. We'll roll a random encounter check. We're good. And we do see a spiral staircase leading up. So we're going to cautiously ascend. And we emerge in room 12. There are 3 ghouls waiting in here. It's a decently sized room, but it's not very wide, so the ghouls can't really hide from us unless they're fucking sitting on the ceiling. So we're going to get right into combat. Initiative. Damn. We're a little slow to react. The elves are cursing us. Damn it! Damn it, Dolnir. Alright, well, the ghouls are gonna swarm in. I think they're all targeting Rethi, which is for the best, really, but it is 3 attacks. Actually, how long? It's been over an hour. Oh, no, we have the Holy Blessing for an hour and... No, it's an hour. It's exactly 1 hour. I don't know why I didn't put that here, but it's... Yeah, I didn't put it here, which is really great. I'm almost certain it's 1 hour and no longer. Yeah, 1 hour. Okay. So we are no longer Holy Blessed. Alright. So we're going to get that on after this combat for sure, because we're also going to bless the archers, the elves. But yes, all 3 are going to attack Rethi. They have +2 to their roll. They have to crit. But this is 9 attacks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 19s in there, but that's not good enough. She is a beast. Wait a minute. That's not quite correct. They outnumber her 3-1. So they also get... So they have +4 to the roll. So those 2 19s are hits. Damn it. That means she takes 2d3 damage. Which is, of course, 6. And she has to roll Luck Con twice. Great success. Failure. She will use a reroll. Success. Okay. She shrugs it off. Our turn. Longsword coming out fast. Dead. Dead as shit. Dolnir is going to swing his scimitar at another one. Also dead as shit. Nefira fires her bow at the third one. That is a miss. And then the 4 elves. They all have +1 to their attack. And the ghoul technically has a 15 AC. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 1 hit for d6 damage, 5 damage. Alright, it's fine. Now, unfortunately, these 3 attack rolls that missed, there's a 33% chance for each one that they have to re-roll the attack against one of my guys. So, first one, second one, third one. None of them are at risk. Okay? See, it's all quick. A lot slower if you have to actually roll all these dice in person. But I've transitioned in person to actually using a digital dice roller just because it's a lot fucking faster. Nefira's initiative. Success. Rethi swings sword. It only has 4 hit points left. She swings and kills. Cools down. Excellent. Does it warrant a short rest? Technically, yes. Technically, yes. But I'm not going to give it. I'm being stingy. Yeah, it's so arbitrary, man. And it's arbitrary by design. That's literally what the book says, the author says. It's just, yeah, it's just up to you, man. But I'm not allowing it. He's going to cast Holy Blessing, so we get those buffs again. Technically, I shouldn't have had those buffs for that fight, but I don't think it made any difference for attack rolls. Oh, technically she had 22 AC, but again, that didn't matter. That should have been a... That was a miss, right? Yeah, that was a miss. That was a hit. That was a hit. Yeah, it didn't make a difference. Alright, so he's going to cast Holy Blessing. Success. So that's his other Divine Spellcasting tier 2. Okay. So now all the elves are blessed as well. And I'm also going to cast Sharpness. Yes. I'm going to cast Sharpness on Nefira's 20 arrows. He failed. Fuck it, I'll cast it again. Alright. So she's got magic +1 arrows now for 30 minutes. He's gonna finally cast Bane Rune on his sword. So... Excellent, great. So +3. And he's targeting undead. Alright, he has used up all of his spell casting in preparation. Because we're on the top floor of the tower now. So hopefully the big guy's next. Which he is. Alright, we check the door. Don't hear anything. No traps. It's not locked. We enter. We come around the corner, and there he is. Duard Silveraxe. Shade form. So he was a 5th level fighter. He's forsaken himself and all his men in the tower to become Shadow Incarnate. His eyes are black with no white, and his skin has turned gray. Shadows seem to come to life around him. That's not good. Says that he surprises on a 1 to 5. I suppose he knows we're coming? I don't know. Is he telepathically linked to all his undead? Well, he probably heard the sounds of combat, so yes. I think he is going to try to ambush us. The problem is that he can't. Because we have illumination. So we have bright light sort of all around us. Technically, if he was a shadow, he wouldn't be able to enter. And any shadows... Well, he's a shade. He's not a shadow. Is that a difference? No. I don't know what a shade is. Well, then I think we're strictly using the stat block here. So it says the shade can gather shadows around itself and instantly transfer to another location 50 feet away. This ability can work through walls. You can also harness the shadow material around it to create 2 exact copies of itself. The shade can control their actions as long as they remain within 30 feet. The copies do no damage as they are merely shadows. Bright light will reduce shadows around the shade, thus weakening it. The effects of bright light are -2 ability score, -4 saves, -2 hit points per hit dice. What's crazy is I don't know how you would go into this fight without a bright light, you know? You could say magical light, which is sort of in line with the shadow stat block from Axe, where they cannot enter an area lit by direct daylight or magical illumination. That probably would be a tweak I'd make. But it's hard to say. But that's just because I really like Axe and the stat block and the monsters. And it's also, you know, it's a nice advantage of having magical light. Not that it needs many more advantages, but it does take up spell slots. It's a fairly big room, I believe, so I think he might be able to try to ambush us. Yeah, I mean, this is 30 feet wide by 60 feet long. It's a fairly big room. He knows we're coming. So, yeah. I guess he might be able to surprise us. He surprises on a 1 to 5. But we like to do this Tales of Argosa way. Basically, we're just going to give him a really high static roll for his stealth. So he succeeded his stealth by 9, we're going to say. So we have to do a group check. The elves will give us collective +2. How about that? So really, she's rolling +3. She failed. Okay. She failed. Detection 3. We succeeded, but by 6. So that's also a failure. So Dalnir is going to fail as well. So that means that he is going to be able to ambush somebody. Would he target the person with the light? Or would he specifically try to go away from the light and try to kill the elves or something? I think he's going to target a player, but probably he's going to target... I never established a marching order, I suppose. I guess I always assumed the order was this. Dalnir in the rear, Nefira, then Rethi. So he's going to target Dalnir. He's going to have advantage on the roll. He swings an axe of +2. It puts his Thaco at +2, but that's not what it should be. His Thaco should be way higher than that. Again, we always follow Tales of Argosa, which is literally just whatever their hit dice is, that's what their bonus is. I think Shadow Dart might be the same way. Yeah, I think Shadow Dart generally is the same way. Not always, but it's a general rule of thumb. It's a general rule of thumb. So, he actually should have a really good Thaco. I don't know why they put him at +2. He should have 5 +2 from the axe. Also, I don't know why it says his damage is weapon +1 if it's a +2 axe. That also seems weird. So, yeah, we're going to make this guy fairly beefy, alright? So he's swinging a Thaco of 7, and he does damage of 1d8 +2. But he is going to be in the bright light. He is never going to be able to really attack us where he's not in the bright light. So he's going to have -2 to all his ability scores. So we'll drop his Thaco down by 1. Still pretty significant. He still has a Thaco of 6. His saves go down by 4, which means his luck is down by 4. And he has 10 less hit points. So he only has 24 hit points in bright light. Still pretty formidable, especially because he's going to ambush us. I'm not quite sure how to adjudicate where he has 2 exact copies of himself. They don't do any... basically, I want to interpret that as the mirror image spell, which is illusory duplicates. Create 1d4 illusory duplicates of the caster. They cluster around him. Blah, 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 blah. Enemies attempting to attack or cast spells upon the caster will always hit a duplicate instead. Any attack against a duplicate destroys it. Yeah. So he basically can do that. And we'll say that he started with that spell, and he's not going to have that as an action. So he's casting that, like, right now. So the first 2 successful hits against him will just kill these shades. It's the easiest way for me to run it, rather than trying to, like, fool the players or something of which one's the real one and blah, blah, blah. I guess you could run it that way. It's pretty close to the same effect, though, really. So we'll simplify it. Alright, so he's attacking Dalnir. He has +6 on the roll and advantage. He needs a 13 or higher to hit. He fumbled, but he recovered and rolled a natural 19, which is pretty bad. So he is going to do D8 plus 2 damage. 4 damage to Dalnir. That's not too bad. But then he also gets a natural 19 effect. And I know I could just roll... This is why I don't set anything up in Foundry. I just look everything up anyways. What is... He's using a battle axe, so I need the blade trauma for that. Battle axe. 1d8 plus 4. 6 blade trauma on Dalnir. Sliced nose. Loses their olfactory sense and 1d3 charisma until healed. Make a luck dex save. On a success, the nose is split, but will self-heal with this 6 weeks of rest. Otherwise, the nose is lost. Damn. Alright, I'll roll, but I'm really hoping to fail so I don't lose luck to some bullshit like that. No, he got a great success. Alright, you get to keep your nose, Dalnir. But now your luck's down by 1. Alright, it is what it is. His charisma doesn't matter, and the smelling doesn't matter, so... yeah, it is what it is. I could have been worse, I suppose. Alright, that's fine. Now, it doesn't say anything that he's immune to mundane weaponry, but it doesn't matter. Because, well, the elves don't have magic weaponry. I feel like he would mention if he was immune to mundane stuff. So I'm assuming he's not. We have to roll initiative. Failure. I got no rerolls. He could teleport away and then re-surprise us. But perhaps he's just going to hammer home the point. And he's going to roll +6 for his Dalnir again. He missed. Thank God. Is he going to stand there or is he overconfident? I don't know. Because he could easily just, like, teleport to the other side of the wall and keep ambushing us. I suppose that is the more exciting way to play it, isn't it? Rather than just he stands there and we wail on him. So yes, he suddenly vanishes. And basically we're going to, like, huddle together and keep our eyes peeled. And he's going to... We're going to repeat the perception check now. So again, he still has his 9 success margin. We still have the elves looking around everywhere. I think it's going to get... Actually, we're going to drop him down now to an 8 margin. Because now we kind of know what to look for. It's still really difficult. Okay, Breathy did succeed. That's very strong. Nefira failed bigly, though. And I'm not sure if I really want to use a reroll on that. And then Dalnir did not succeed by enough. So no, we don't spot him again. He's going to come out and ambush Dalnir again. Hoping that he can finish him off. So it's +6 with advantage. He misses. We're a bit more ready for him this time, and we're huddled together. So, no go there. We're going to roll initiative again. There we go. And we do need a great success to go before him. That's the tricky part here. Because he is a boss. So a normal success, the boss will go before us. But we got him now. So now we blow everything we can. I guess I could have put Scroll of Holy Circle up while we were standing here. Turning's not going to do a damn thing, so he's just swinging his scimitar. Remember, it's a +3 versus undead. That is a hit. He has 16 AC, so we do 10 damage to him. That is a hell of a blow. Except it hits his shade, or it hits his copy. So slices through something and it just kind of vanishes in a puff of smoke. Bummer. I should have had the elves fire first, but I guess we didn't really know the mechanic. We see there's one, there's 2 copies of them, so we're gonna have the elves fire next. They're all gonna shoot. They have +2 to the roll, and they have to hit 16. Okay, one of them did hit. That's all I really needed. So the other copy vanishes in a puff of smoke. I do have to roll 3 times for the D6, 33% chance. Okay, we're all good. Rethi now sets her sights on this bastard guy, and she's going to swing the longsword +1. She doesn't really have much of a adaptable style that will help. Yeah, so she just swings. That is a hit for sure. 11 damage. That is pretty darn good. Yeah, okay. Pretty darn good. So he's at 13 now. He's not wounded, so no finisher or anything. We could blind him. I don't think, again, it makes... He still uses eyes to see, I'm pretty sure. He's not Sam Neill in Event Horizon. So, and it's also, she can just use it as part of her action, which is pretty good. But she is going to have to be in melee to do it, and she doesn't have a well, she doesn't need a magic weapon, that's right. So yeah, I guess she'll throw the flash powder and then try to just stab him quick. And so he has to make a luck dex save. Remember, he has -4 to his lucks. So we'll use the trick and technique. Go down to this. He has 5 hit dice. So luck. His dex is probably decent. So we'll give him 10. -4. He has to roll a 6 or under to avoid being blind. He crit failed. He's very blind. I'm going to stab him now. Which is interesting because he's blind. Which I imagine means he's... Interesting. So we don't actually get any bonuses according to Axe, but according to Tales of Argosa, we 100% get something. Yes, opponents can see clearly, gain advantage on attacks against blind targets. The question is, I mean, I figured that. I knew that. The question is, would a rogue get the benefit of backstab? I would argue generally yes. I think that's fair. So we're going to let Nephira actually pull off a backstab here with +4 to the attack roll and 1d8 damage extra. And she has advantage. That is very much a hit. And she does 4 + 7, 11 damage. So he is at 2 hit points. And he's blind. That's pretty good. We got this guy's nuts in a vice. Probably a little too easy of a fight for the big finale, but he is solo. I thought he was going to be like summoning shadows or something like that, or, you know, summoning undead around him. But yeah, he's all by himself. And in almost any RPG, a boss all by themselves is usually not too much trouble. Although, I will say, like, Draw Steel, the solo monsters you fight in there are pretty fucking nasty. They get a lot of actions and can do a lot of special abilities, get malice tokens and whatever. You're just doing all sorts of shit constantly. And it's almost like fighting like a mini army or something, even though it's one monster. Anyways, that has nothing to do with this. This is not that game, and so one guy can only do so much, even with his special abilities. He's blind. I think he could maybe blind jump. He could blind shadow walk, and he might end up in a safe location. But if he ends up in the wall, he's dead. If he ends up outside the tower, he's dead. So it would really be quite the miraculous jump for him to shift. So we're right in the middle. It's up to 50 feet, or is it exactly 50 feet? 50 feet away. Usually it would be up to 50 feet. I don't know if I really... But, I mean, it's a spitball, right? I mean, it could really go... He might know that that room over there is 10, 20, 30, 40 feet away. But if he jumps 40 feet west, he's dead. He's outside the tower and he's dead. 40 feet east, outside the tower, dead. 40 feet south, outside the tower, dead. If he jumps 20 feet, you know, he's either in a wall or he's in the room still and we see him, or he's outside the tower and dead. His only hope really is to jump 40 feet and hope that he ends up in the right direction. And which depends sort of on how generous I am with his dice roll. He could stay and not jump, but then he's either moving out of the area normally, which is going to be a lot of op attacks. It's going to be 3 op attacks. Or he has to stand there and just swing and hope that he hits something. But even then, even if he kills one of us, he's still dead. This is pretty shit for him. So he's going to try to jump. Which could save his bacon, maybe. The most generous that I could give him is a D4. And if he rolls 1, he goes north. 2, he goes east. 3, south. 4, west. He has a 1 in 4 odds of surviving. If I go more granular than that and say make it like a D12, like a clock, it gets a little bit hazier. If he goes northeast, or what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A D8. So say I do a D8, and then we can go diagonal. If he goes northeast from here, that's 10, 20, 30, 40. He's dead. Northwest, he's dead. Basically any direction but true north, he's dead. So that's a 1 in 8. And then you can go even more granular than that, depending on how many... A D8 seems more likely. I think he could jump diagonally. I don't think he knows cardinal directions while being blind. I certainly wouldn't. So it's probably more logical, but it gives his odds very slim. But I think his odds are very slim. So we're going to roll a D8. If he rolls a 1, he survives and gets away. He does not. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He jumps due south and vanishes and plummets down however tall the tower is, I guess. I don't know. 50 feet or something. He takes 5d6 damage. If it's... Yeah, it's a kill. He's dead. And as soon as he dies, all the undead in the tower just dissipate. Crumble apart. And that is a success. Huzzah. Now, we don't actually know yet that we've killed him, because he just vanished, so we're just kind of going to wait around assuming he's going to ambush us again. We have no idea what his hit point is. So it would be a very funny scenario as the DM to run that for people and just have them eventually figure out that he actually teleported outside and died when they finally leave the tower. But yeah, that would kind of, yeah. But I think we've kind of played it out. I mean, we could go under the tower and do some more dungeons, but I think at this point I'm happy. I'm content with this campaign, this mini campaign. So we'll just narrate then, assuming that it's like at the end of a session that this happens, you know, and be like, okay, you know, we'll just narrate what happens and the epilogue. So the elves thank us once we discover that he is dead out there. We do get his +2 axe and +2 chainmail, which I think Dalnir might finally take over his scimitar, so he doesn't have to enchant his sword to be magical, which is pretty nice then. He'd be swinging D8 +5 for damage, and he'd be swinging +8 on the attack roll. So yeah, he'd be pretty good with that axe. And then the chainmail +2 would bump him up to 20 AC. So he'd be in a pretty good position. Yeah, we don't loot really anything else in the tower because it all belongs to the elves for the most part. And we have no interest in delving underneath the tower. That's up to them. So we part ways with the elves. And we already sort of feel a slight lifting, ever so slight lifting of the atmosphere in the Labyrinth of Shadows. I think it's still a pretty horrific place. But maybe yeah, I mean, it would still probably be pretty rough. We'd probably run into some things, but there wouldn't be any ghouls, shadows, zombies roaming around. So it'd be a bit of a truncated list here. There'd be trolls, crab spiders, elves, hobgoblins, bugbears. And we make it back to our cart. We hook our Beulah up to the cart again and head back to Karn Buldar over the course of a couple days. Karn Buldar is still standing. No trouble befell it. We proclaim that we have dealt with the undead menace at the tower. The undead are all gone. Things should return to normal. And life continues. And the adventurers move on to some other region for further adventures. And that's it. Yeah, okay. Well, so we skipped a good amount of In the Shadow of Tower Silveraxe. That's going to happen with most groups. It's a pretty rare group that exhausts an entire module like this, like an entire hex crawl, and makes sure to go to every point of interest. Because it's not that easy, especially with a time limit. You know, it's not like Skyrim or something where you just kind of like, you have all the time in the world, you have 100 hours, and you're just roaming across the map, going to every point of interest, because you see all the points of interest, and you're fast traveling, and blah, you know, it's like, no, it's a lot trickier here where you have to worry about random encounters, rations, travel time, time limits, all that sort of shit. And the fact that, like, it's really tough. The player version of the map, there aren't many points of interest on here. Especially once you get over to this western side, there's, like, nothing that you see. So, you know, finding this dungeon, finding this thing, finding this village of elves, finding this spot in here in the Labyrinth of Shadows, it's really tricky. So I don't think most groups are going to exhaust this hex crawl, but that's fine. That's how it should be. So I had, you know, I had an experience with this module that nobody else will have exactly, and any group that runs this will have an experience that no other group will have, and that's good. Overall, yeah, I mean, I guess I would give it a thumbs up. I guess I would give the whole module a thumbs up by and large. It's not perfect though, and it's not nearly the same length or anything of Evils of Ilmire, but Evils of Ilmire is like the fucking blueprint, you know? Like, that is such a good campaign. That is such a good, like, adventure module of a pre-written hex crawl. Where it's creative, the dungeons are often very thematic and unique. They're varied. You're not fighting, like, the same things in each one or anything like that. The actual premise is kind of gripping. And can go in just a multitude of different ways depending on the player's knowledge and player's action and things like that. The time limit is not super strict, but it's there. It's always, you know, present once you know that there's like a cult operating in the area and stuff. And it also is just really easy to run as a DM. Like, I felt when running it, like, I didn't have nearly as many questions about certain aspects of the adventure or of the dungeons compared to this, which is much simpler and shorter. I really feel like this could use, like, a bit of an editor and just, like, a bit of a rework just to fill in a little bit more information about certain things and answer a couple questions and just make it slightly easier for a DM to run. And also the other issue with this that I would say is just kind of an overall lack of creativity. It's a very vanilla experience for the most part. That's up to you on whether that's a really bad thing or not. You know, if you want like, hey, I want like the classic D&D experience, you know, I want basic D&D. I mean, yeah, you can get that. It's got skeletons, it's got spiders, it's got goblins, it's got brigands. You're going to find +1 swords, you're going to find +1 chainmail, +1 rings of protection. There you go. That's what it is. Whereas, again, going back to Evils of Ilmire, that one has a lot of, like, much more interesting and unique magic items, I think, sort of scattered around the whole place. I don't recall if there are almost any. There might be just some, just like +1 weapons, but I don't think so, actually. I don't recall there being any. So, yeah, I mean, it's a thumbs up, but I think if you're looking for a bit of a sandbox hex crawl pre-written experience, look to Evils of Ilmire first. But, you know, if the theme of that doesn't really jive with you or something like that, and you want more of just a more basic experience, perhaps to introduce if you're going to introduce players to like a sandbox hex crawl type experience, then definitely Blackworm of Brandonsford is by far my recommendation. So this one falls into a bit of a gray area. I do think it's not a bad fit for my family, who don't mind a little bit more basic vanilla kind of experience. But I also, if I were to run this, I would definitely tweak a handful of things. One would absolutely be the treasure. I would change all the magic items, but that's easy. I'd also be probably interested in changing like the wandering monster tables for the dungeons to be a bit more unique. I also saw a discussion where someone tried to actually put different themes for each of the dungeons. Like one dungeon has like a fungal theme or something like that, and the wandering monster table fits that, and other, you know, other stuff like that. That one I would probably be a bit more interested. That's if I was not lazy. I would probably be interested in doing that. But yeah, I think it's solid. Not amazing, but solid. And I had fun, so that's always important. As for Tales of Argosa, yeah, it continues to just kind of be a stellar system. Obviously, a fairly easy casual system compared to, you know, OSE or I don't know, Swords and Wizardry or Shadow Dark even, or something like that. You just have a lot of tools to mitigate death. You have higher hit points, you have luck saves, you have rerolls, you have major and minor exploits, you have abilities, you have death saving throws, party rescues you can do, party retreats you can do, we never did, all sorts of stuff like that just are kind of there to keep characters alive and keep the fun going. Death certainly can happen, and depending on how I sort of DM'd certain things, like we could have lost a character or two. But yeah, I mean, even my family, they don't lose that many characters playing Tales of Argosa, so it's definitely an easier system. To me, I find it pretty fun. I mean, I like Shadow Dark, but I just like so many aspects of Tales of Argosa's mechanics to just kind of keep things moving and keep things exciting and fun and heroic. I guess it's like the heroic end of the OSR, rather than the gritty, grim end of OSR. So it sort of depends on your flavor. The heroic end of OSR is still somewhat lethal, but not nearly as so, and you get to do fun stuff like cleaving through enemies and chopping off scorpion tails, and it's all mechanically in there. So yeah, I really like it, and obviously I am a big fan of a lot of the resources that Axe has. I just can't ever see committing to actually running anything with Axe again. I mean, yeah. Because you'll notice most of the stuff we use is non-combat stuff. The specific rules for combat is where I kind of fall apart, and it just seems to go really slowly and just... I don't know. Like, introducing facing and kind of leaning towards miniatures and re-rolling initiative every round. I mean, we do re-roll initiative every round, but it's very simple and side-based, and it's one roll for everything. But yeah, getting into all this and the various options, and then there was like, yeah, the different the movement types and like a fighting withdrawal, and it just got way too nitty-gritty. I like all of Axe resources for monsters and for, like, you know, crafting items and their equipment section and all that. Hirelings, if I wanted to construct a building, if I want to figure out how much food they get out of butchering a deer, all that is great. But yeah, as an actual game, yeah, a little too bogged down. And then Shadow Dark, I like Shadow Dark a lot, but I already said, like, it's a bit too swingy with just that D20 and, like, a +2. I really like the roll under mechanic of Tales of Argosa. I think that's great. Where every point of your stat really matters and actually makes a difference. That's phenomenal. And yeah, like 4 classes, and they're not super varied. Yeah, I mean, I like Shadow Dark, and I went in on the Kickstarter, and I still am purchasing like third-party materials for Shadow Dark, and I like it. And if a DM, you know, if my DM buddy came to me and said, "Hey, I want to fucking DM a Shadow Dark campaign," I'd say, "Fuck yeah, I am in, man. I'm on board. Let's do it." Would I be happier if he said Tales of Argosa? Yeah, probably, but still. I'd pick Shadow Dark over quite a few other systems. And if I was going to introduce some of my other buddies to D&D or to RPGs for the first time, I definitely would pick Shadow Dark over Tales of Argosa, because I think it's just so simple and easy to just get into a dungeon and go and learn what it's actually, you know, what it's like to play an RPG of, you know, in this style. I did see that Heroes of Adventure has been updated quite a lot I haven't really thought about that game in quite a while, but that was actually the first thing I tried solo RPGs with. It was Heroes of Adventure back in the day, because it actually, I think, had solo rules, and I was like, huh. Or maybe it didn't, and I was just kind of curious. I don't know. I started with Heroes of Adventure, and we did a good number of streams. I think we did like 14 streams with that, and then I switched to like my hybrid that combined Heroes of Adventure and Shadow of the Demon Lord. And I really liked Heroes of Adventure, although it did have a handful of issues. I didn't really love the magic system. I thought that the spells were... I seem to recall issues with... They just weren't clear enough, or they were like... I don't know. I remember... This was a while ago now. It was almost 2 years ago, I think. I remember having some real issues with like the Charm Person spell, and he was either like too overpowered or too underpowered, depending on how you interpreted it or something. I don't remember. There was a handful of issues I had with it, but I liked it enough. I actually DM'd it for my family for a little while, and I ordered like a physical copy of the book from Lulu or something. But I checked today, and it actually has gotten pretty heavily revamped, where it's almost like Heroes of Adventure 2.0. And it's now been split into 3 separate books, a player book, a DM book, and a monster manual. And I'm pretty tempted to actually do a relook at Heroes of Adventure and go back to that, because I only did solo with that with like a very free-form campaign. It wasn't even like a hex crawl, because I hadn't really gotten into that yet. And it didn't involve any like pre-written modules of OSR stuff. So I'm tempted to go back to Heroes of Adventure and actually maybe try some modules with it or something and just see how it goes. I don't know. Maybe just a let's read. We'll see. But that's probably the next thing I'm going to do. But we are done here. That's In the Shadow of Tower Silveraxe. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a good time despite the issues. We had some laughs. We had some tears. Again, shockingly, all 3 characters made it all the way through. With probably some fudging, to be honest. Yeah. Probably a little bit of fudging, but not too much. Not a whole lot. And again, these characters could continue on. We could actually go to a higher level module, which we've almost never looked at any higher level modules ever. We could. They are level 4. I didn't keep track of any XP. We didn't get that much loot from that dungeon because we weren't allowed to take anything in front of the elves. So we'd probably still be level 4. But we have, I mean, +1 longsword, plate mail, shield. She's got a helmet of telepathy, elven cloak, leather armor +1. He's got now that axe +2, chainmail +2, ring of protection +1, ring of invisibility. They're pretty decked out to go to a higher end module, but yeah, I like bouncing around too much. All right, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging with In the Shadow of Tower Silveraxe, and I'll see you fine folks around.